Alaikum. Today we are going to start with chapter 11, and this chapter is very important for the second submission of the project, so be attentive. And I have skipped a chapter for the time being, which is chapter 10, because as I said, this is important for your term projects. I wanted to complete this one first before we move on to the you know to the next to chapter 10. Okay, so let us complete this first. So this chapter deals with speed, travel time, and delay studies. In these slides, I will talk about speed studies or spot speed studies to be more exact, because this is what we are going to use, what you are going to do. Okay, so in the next slides, I will talk about travel time and delay studies. So spot speed means a speed which is taken for a spot, or meaning a point. Okay. So if you have a speed gun, a speed radar, some equipment which can give you the speed directly, then there is no problem. You calculate the speed. You get the speed from the equipment over a point. You place the equipment on the point, and you get the speed of the vehicle for that point. But what if you are doing it manually? Then manually you need some distance to do distance upon time, right? So you have to, we can still collect the spot speed data manually if you keep the distance short. Okay, so it will not be for, like, practically it will not be for a point or a spot, but it can still be considered a spot speed if you have kept the length of the segment, if you have kept the distance short. Now how short is considered good enough for a spot speed? That is less than 1000 feet. So a segment which is less than 1000 feet and you calculate the speed using that segment can still be called as spot speed. Okay, so coming back to your project, I told you, I think you have not, any one of you have not taken a distance, up to 300 meters, right? 1000 feet means 300 meters. So I don't think any one of you have taken a distance of 300 meters. Okay, so even if you have collected 62 samples in the first submission, you are good. Okay, no problem. Why do we do speed studies? We want to know the choice of the drivers for their speed in free flow conditions. Okay, I explained when I was explaining the first submission as well, that if you want to collect the 62 samples of speed in the first submission, then do it when the traffic flow is very low. So we call it free flow condition. I showed it to you in lecture 3 as well. Free flow speed. So what was happening at the free flow speed? The density was almost zero. So the traffic is almost zero. Okay. So when traffic is almost zero, then the driver has the choice, right, to make this speed. If you are following other drivers, the traffic is high, you don't have the chance to overtake or go ahead of the driver in front of you, then obviously this is not your choice. Whatever the speed of the succeeding driver or the preceding driver, you have to follow him. Okay, so only in free flow conditions you have the choice of speed. Then in that condition, your choice will depend upon what? Your choice will depend upon the road conditions and the environmental conditions, the weather conditions. Okay, so what do you feel as a driver is your safe speed on this road? This is what we are trying to find out through spot speed studies. So you see the road is wide, the weather is good, you feel like I can go faster and faster and faster. Okay, so we want to know what is the choice of the driver, what is his feeling regarding the condition of the road. Okay, uh, then again we need to put a barrier for the volume as well. What volume or what flow we can call as free flow, because we cannot have zero volume and still collect speed, right? Zero density means what? No car. If there's no car, then there's no speed. Okay, so when you are going to collect the spot speed, you will have some volume from where you will get the speeds. So how much volume is considered sufficient to have spot speed study? For most of the highways, it's 500. Most of the uninterrupted flow highways. So uninterrupted means no intersections, no exits, no entries, and these signals roundabout, they are not there. Okay, so for most of the highways, a flow of 500 vehicles per hour per lane is considered as sufficient. Okay, so if it is more than 500 for most of the highways, then it will not be considered as free flow. Okay, and it is for uninterrupted highways, or uninterrupted part of the highway. So if you doing a spot speed study on your segment, so your segment may be starting from an intersection, so you do it away from the intersection. Okay, I have mentioned it earlier as well. Try to do it in the middle of the segment. Okay, so you will be exactly in between two intersections. Okay, so try to do it in the middle of the intersection, in the middle of the segment. Okay, so you will be far away from the intersection before that and far away from the intersection after that, because near the intersection your speed is obviously low, and your speed is low not because of your choice. It's because you have an intersection, you are just coming out of an intersection. It's low because of the stopping at the intersection or the possible stopping at the intersection. Okay, so should be uninterrupted, the volume 500 or less, or if you have a freeway means a very high speed road like Sheikh Khalifa bin Salman Highway, Sheikh Isa bin Salman Highway, King Faisal Causeway, something like that. 4 lanes, high speed, wide road, shoulder, median, everything is there. In that case, from 750 to 1000 is still considered as free flow conditions. From 750 to 1000 is still considered as free flow conditions. Okay, so it's okay to do it it's okay to do spot speed studies for freeways, even if the volume is up till 1000 vehicles per hour per day. But for most of the uninterrupted, and freeways are already uninterrupted. Okay, freeways are uninterrupted. So spot speed studies are done on uninterrupted highways or uninterrupted part of the highways, and the traffic volume should be low. And if you are doing it manually, then your segment should be less than 1000 feet. Okay. So again, you have to keep all these things in mind when you go in the field for collecting your own data. Okay, and if you collected data previously and you did not keep these things in mind, you have to do it again. Okay. What are the uses of spot speed data? Why do we want to know the choice of the driver? First of all, we discussed it in the previous chapter as well, the first point and the last point. Okay, the first point is to see the effectiveness of existing or new speed limits and their enforcement. Okay, so you feel that the drivers are over speeding. Okay, so you put a new speed limit there. Then you find the drivers are still not following the speed limit. So there are accidents happening, they reduce the speed limit. Then later on you found that drivers are still having accidents because they are over speeding. They are not following the speed limit. Okay, so first of all, you did the spot speed study to find that I should put a new speed limit. You put the new speed limit, you found the drivers are not following. So you will do some, you will make the enforcement strict on that point. Okay, you want the enforcement to be stricter. So maybe you will place a police officer there, or in our case, we put a speed camera there. Okay, because you know the enforcement of the speed limit is not effective. Okay, so in some cases it can be the other way around as well. So this was for putting the speed limits and enforcing the speed limit from the case of reducing the accidents. Okay, because in most of the cases accidents happen because of the speed, in most of the cases, or in 99% of the cases you could avoid accident if you reduce the speed. Okay, even if you were not over speeding, you were within the speed limit, but something unexpected happened, the accident was bound to happen. But if you were driving it slowly or slower, you can avoid the accident, or you can have a less severe accident. Okay, so you guys, I think all of you must be having driving license, you must be having experience of driving. So whenever you have to go through a tight space, a very limited space, a very narrow space, what do? You drive through it slowly. You know the space is enough for your car, but still you drive through slowly because you know if I drive faster, then I will have less chance of having a then I will have more chance of having a scratch or hitting any object on the side. So you drive slowly, so you have better control and you can avoid the accident better. Okay, so speed is either part of the cause of the accident, or it can become a measure to avoid the accident. Okay, either it is having the negative effect or the positive effect. In some cases it can be the other way around as well. You can have you have a speed limit, no accidents are happening, but you conducted a spot speed study on that side and you found the drivers are going over the speed limit and they are still safe. So that means what? That means what? That you did not take the traffic engineering classes properly, right? That means this is what it means. It means that the speed limit is not effective. It is not as per the conditions of the road. You put a speed limit which is not as per the conditions of the road. Okay, so in that case you can even increase the speed limit, and it has happened. I think 2-3 years ago, some of the highways had an increase in the speed limit. Okay, in Bahrain. So now these problems keep on coming, so that's why I have to check the messages. Okay, so then speed limits are also used for design applications. Okay, for example, we calculated sight distance, okay, in this course as well as in the highway engineering course. We calculated the radius of the curve. We calculated in the highway course length of the horizontal curve and radius for the horizontal curve and length of the vertical curve. So these things come from so we were using speed in the equation, right? So that is speed was the spot speed. Okay. Then when you are selecting the gradients of the road, again you go to the highway course, you will see a table. We were using the speed as well, so that speed was the spot speed. Okay. Then in chapter 3 we calculated the yellow, I think it was lecture 2 chapter 3, we calculated the yellow time, and I told you at that time that we will also calculate an all red interval for the signal as well. Okay, so again there's an equation for yellow time. We use the speed using this, and we calculate yellow time using the sight distance, right? So sight distance is coming from the spot speed. The sight distance equation will use the spot speed. Okay. So yellow time calculation is requiring spot speed as well as the all red interval. Okay, so signal timings are calculated using spot speed. Placement of signs, I think there was an example in the exam as well, that the sign is placed this much and what will be the speed. Okay, so that speed would be the spot speed. Okay, so placement of sign depends upon your sight distance, and sight distance is calculated using the spot speed. Okay, so placement of traffic sign also depends upon spot speed. Then development of signal progression. Signal progression means the series of signals. You have a series of signals. So you have like 3-4 intersections, one after another, and each intersection has a signal. So the timing of the signal is related to one another. So the first one will start green at 0, the next one will start after 10 seconds, the next one will start after 30 seconds, and so on. So these timings are linked. So the movement of vehicles through a series of signals is known as a signal progression. Signal progression. Okay, because they are progressing through the signals together. Okay, so they will pass from one signal together, they will come to the next signal together, pass from there together, and so on. So we call it signal progression. So signal timings are linked. Okay, we link them to have vehicles passing through one signal, and then when they reach the next signal, they will that signal will become green, and then they can move without stopping. So this progression also requires spot speed. Okay, because I want to know after how much time the vehicle will reach the next signal. So this time is calculated using the spot speed data. So this is what we call a signal progression. So this point is regarding the design of signal. Okay, so in design of signal, we calculate the yellow timing, all that time, and where should we place the signal, at how much distance, what should be the sight distance, and also how should we link the timing of one signal to the next one. Okay, this signal progression. Okay, so this also depends upon spot speed data. Then there are some variables which we will use later on with the spot speed data. So let us define these parameters here. First of all, average of spot speed. So for example, in your project, you will collect 62 values. So in the end, then you will take the average. Okay, and believe me, it will not be a simple average. It will not be a simple average. Okay, because I told you, I keep on repeating, right? Life is not so simple, and traffic is more complicated than life. So you will calculate average speed, and we have earlier discussed there are two types of average speed. time mean speed and space mean speed. Now we are talking about spot speed. So it cannot be space because space mean speed is collected for a segment. Okay, usually a long segment, maybe for the whole highway or so on. So spot speed average is known as time mean speed. Okay, time mean speed. And the definition is same: average speed of all vehicles passing the study location during the period of study. Okay. Then we have a standard deviation. Standard deviation is the average difference between the mean speed and the remaining and the other values in the values in the data set. The average difference between the mean speed and the values in the data set. Okay. So you have one average speed and you will have number of values in your data set. And you have two values. They will have 62 different. I'm trying to explain it in very simple terms. There are equations to calculate standard deviation. Again, the equation will not be simple. Okay, but just to make you understand, standard deviation is the average difference between the average value and the other values in the data set. Okay. Then we have 85th percentile speed. Percentile means the highest value for a particular range of population. So 85th percentile means the highest value for 85% of population. Okay, so this means what? That if the 85th percentile is 60 miles per hour, then 85% of drivers are driving at 60 miles per hour or below it. So 85th percentile will come with a less than equal to sign, right? Whatever is the value, it will come with a less than equal to sign for the for this much population of the driver, 85% of the population of the driver. Okay. Usually in the design, we use the 85th percentile of the spot speed. So you collect the spot speed data, then you see from the spot speed data what is the 85th percentile. So what speed is satisfactory or enough for 85% of drivers, and then you use it for the design of signals and signs and geometric design. Okay. Then we have median. I think we know about median. We have the basic definition about median, which is the middle value in the data. Okay. So you arrange the data in ascending or descending order. So lowest first and the highest at the end, or the highest first and the lowest at the end, whatever. And then you take the middle value. Okay. To arrange the speed, take the middle value. That is median. Okay. In terms of percentile, median will be the 50th percentile, right? 50th percentile. So middle means what? 50% drivers are above it, 50% are below it. So this will be the 50th percentile. Okay. Then we have pace. Pace is not a value. It's a 10 miles per hour increment range. It's a range which has an interval of 10 miles per hour. So for example, 40 to 50, 30 to 40, 45 to 55, 46 to 56. Okay. So the first value in the pace range and the last value in the pace range will have a difference of 10 miles per hour. Now what is important about pace? It is that 10 mile per hour increment in your data set in which you have the highest proportion of drivers compared to any other range in the data set, compared to any other 10 mile per hour range in the data set. Okay, so for example, you find out the 10 mile per hour range in the data set, that is to be the pace range comes out to be, let's say, 40 to 50 miles per hour, 40 to 50 miles per hour. Okay, or 41 to 50 miles per hour to be exact, 41 to 50 miles per hour. And in that range, I have 40% drivers, 40% drivers. Okay, so I said this is the highest range, this is the highest proportion. So if you take 51 to 60, 61 to 70, or you go below pace and you take 31 to 40 or 21 to 30, in all these ranges, the percentage of drivers will be less than 40. So whatever is the number are driving between 41 and 50 or within the pace range, they are higher than any other range before, or I mean below pace or above pace. Pace is that range which has an interval of 10 miles per hour and has the highest proportion of drivers comparatively. Okay. Like I said, 40%, nobody would say 40% is the highest, right? Highest will be more than 50%, should be. But compared to any other 10 miles per hour range in the data set, 40% is the highest. Okay. So we will use these terms and I will show you how to calculate it using the spot speed data. Okay, how to calculate this, how to collect the spot speed data. So we discussed 3 types of studies, right? Semi-automated, automated, and manual. Manual, you already know. You go there, select a distance. We have already talked about it in the first slide. Select a distance of less than 1,000 feet. You do distance of 1 time, you get this. You can do it semi-automated. So semi-automated means you install a permanent detector on the road. And we have talked about detector technologies in the previous chapter. Okay, there was seismic and vibration and optical and so on and so forth, right? And I told you at that time, loop detectors are the most common one. Okay, so loop detectors, we have a transmitter at one side of the road, receiver at the other side of the road. The signals are going to and fro, and whenever the signals are intercepted, the detector will detect, count the vehicle, and note its speed and headway and so on. Okay. So loop detectors are very commonly used for measuring the speed. Okay. If you don't have permanent detectors, then you can do it semi-automated manner. For doing it in a semi-automated manner, then you will use a handheld or a vehicle-mounted radar gun or detector. Okay, so I was calling it a speed gun. They are calling it radar gun. Okay, because it uses the radar technology. Okay, radio, I don't know the full form. Okay, so it uses radio technology, radio frequency. So it can be handheld. So handheld comes with a battery. Battery is inside, like other things. And if it is vehicle mounted, then it will come with a stand, like you have the the stand for your mobile phone in the vehicle. You can have a stand, you can put it inside the vehicle, but then you have to attach it with the vehicle. You have to keep the vehicle running. The engine should be on, and the speed gun or the radar gun will be attached with the vehicle to operate. Okay, it will not have an external battery. Okay, so you can use it both ways. It will be called as semi-automated. Okay. Speed values are shown in the form of distribution. Okay, so individual speed values will not be used for analysis. Individual speed values will not be used for analysis. Okay, you divide your whole speed data into different speed groups, and you note down or you put the number of values you have observed in each speed group. Let me show you with an example here. Okay, let me make it very clear. Okay, so this is the sheet which is prepared if you are using a speed gun. Okay, this is a sheet which you will prepare if you are using a speed gun. If you are using a detector which can directly give you the value of the speed. In your case, for your project, you will, if you are doing distance upon time, then you will not prepare this sheet. You will directly prepare the next sheet, because your values will not be speed, your values will be travel time, right? If you are doing it manually, if you are using the app or other instrument, then you can prepare this sheet. Okay, so let me explain this sheet, then I will go back to the points in the previous slide. Okay, so first of all, you write down the conditions of your survey, weather conditions, date and time, and posted speed limit. You come at the bottom, who is collecting the data and how. So you are using a radar or what? You have a question? 50%. 50% means 50% of values are below it and 50% values are above it. Okay, I was talking about the median, right? Median. So median means a middle value. So middle means what? 50% values are after it, and 50% values are before it. Okay, so this is what we mean by 50%. 50th percentile. Median is a 50th percentile. Okay, meaning 50% values are below it, 50% values are above it. Okay, 50% of the drivers are driving at this value or below this value. Okay, this is what I meant by 50%. Okay, then you come to this table. So these are the speed groups I was talking about. Okay, now you can see the first group is 30 to 32, 30 to 34, 34 36. Okay, the range of the speed group is not fixed, but it should be constant throughout the table. Throughout your study, it should be constant. So if you decided it should be 2 miles per hour, like in this case, they have decided the range for the speed group will be 2 miles per hour. So between the upper limit and the lower limit, the difference is 2 miles per hour. So for all the speed groups, it should be 2 miles per hour. Okay, if you decided it is 3 miles per hour, should be 3 miles per hour for all the groups. Okay, and so on. Okay, but it can be 2, 3, 1.5, whatever you want. Okay, I will talk about the guidelines later on. Okay, but it should be, so once you have decided, it will remain the same for all the speed groups in your study. Okay, then what are we recording? We are recording the number of values, number of vehicles which were driving in this range. So for the first group, there are no vehicles. Okay, and you can see the lower limit is given with a greater than sign. So more than 30 till 32, more than 32 till 34, and so on. So if the value is 34.1, it will go in this group, the third one. If the value is exactly 34, it will go in this group, the second one. Okay, so in the new edition of the book, they are putting the greater than sign. In the old edition, there was no greater than sign. Okay, so it was confusing, but now it is very clear. Okay. Then how do they record the values? They record it in the form of tally marks, which are basically straight lines, straight and diagonal lines. Okay, this type of a sheet in which the vehicles are recorded in the form of lines are known as a tally sheet, and the lines are known as tally marks. I already made it bigger. If you want, you can open the slides in your. I've already uploaded the slides. Okay, you can open it at your screen. I think I will try to make it bigger, but I think then I cannot have the whole table. Okay, so I was talking about tally sheet or tally marks. Okay, so the lines are called as tally marks and the sheet is known as a tally sheet. Okay. Let me make it bigger so we don't need the things which are written above and below, right? So these are just lines. Okay, don't worry that I'm showing you something complicated. These are just lines, straight lines. So one vehicle in this range is passed, you put a line here. Another pass, you put another line. Then another one pass, you put another line. Okay, like this you can mark 4 consecutive lines. So you can record 4 vehicles with straight lines. Then if you observe the 5th vehicle in this group, then you will make a diagonal line across the 4 lines. So this one set of cross lines means 5 vehicles. Okay, so in the second group, you see there's only one set of cross lines, one set of straight lines which is crossed. So that means 5 vehicles. Come second group, 5 vehicles. Third group, see 5, because there is one set with crossed, which is crossed, and then we have 2 extra lines. That means 5 plus 2. Third group, one set 5 plus another set 5, so 5 plus 5, 10 plus 3 extra lines. So 5 plus 5 plus 3, 13 vehicles. Okay, so if you keep on putting just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, I'm calling them lines, you can call them as 1 as well. So if you keep on putting line after line after line, then it will be difficult for counting. Okay, so we put 4 consecutive lines. Then if you observe the 5th vehicle in that group, you cross these lines with a diagonal line. So that will indicate the 5th vehicle. And then if you have the 6th vehicle, you will put another line after that. Okay, so these are known as tally marks, and this type of sheet is known as a tally sheet. Okay, so for your facilitation, they have written the numbers here as well. Okay, so how many lines we have, and the number is here. So if you later on you want to check it, you can do it yourself. So basically, a set of cross line is basically representing a set of 5 vehicles. Okay, and then if you have extra straight lines, you can count them. Okay, so now you can see here we are not writing the speed of each vehicle. We are writing what? How many vehicles in each speed group. Okay, in each speed group, how many vehicles we have. So in the first group, we don't have any. In the second one, we have 5. Third one, we have 5. Fourth one, we have 7, and so on. Okay, so this number of vehicles in each group will be called as a frequency of that group, and this whole table will be called, or this whole data set will be called as a frequency distribution data set. Frequency distribution data set. Okay, so the values in each group are frequency, and the data set is called as a frequency distribution data set because you are having different frequencies in each group, right? So it will be called the frequency distribution data set. Okay. Now, some guidelines for the range of the speed groups. So 2 miles per hour is considered as an optimum range. Okay. So I will. Okay, so 2 miles per hour for a speed group is considered as optimum, which they have selected in this example as well. You can have less than 2 miles per hour range as well, but then you have to increase the data set. Okay, the data set should be like 200, 300 vehicles. Okay, then you can have speed group range of less than 2 miles per hour as well. Okay, what do you mean by the range? I mean the difference between the upper and the lower limit for each group. Okay, so in this example they have shown 2 miles per hour range, but you can have a range less than that as well, but then you have to increase the data set, because otherwise if you don't increase the data set and you are having a smaller range of a speed group, then you will have many speed groups which are having zero values. Okay, which is not suitable. It's not good for calculations. Okay, so keep it 2 miles per hour optimum. Less than 2 miles per hour if you have more data set. In your case, your 62 values are not considered more. You will feel that we have collected so many values, but in terms of calculation, they are very few. Okay. You can go more than 2 miles per hour as well, up to 5 miles per hour. So 5 miles per hour is maximum. 5 miles per hour is maximum. Don't go above 5 miles per hour, because then what will happen? Within the group, you will have a vehicle which is very slow and which is very fast. For example, if you go for a range of 10 miles per hour, then you will have a vehicle which is traveling at 50 and which is traveling at, let's say, 59 in the same group. Now 50 and 59, there's a lot of difference. A car driving at 50 will seem very slow compared to a car driving at 59. Okay, so we don't want to merge these two cars in the same group. Okay, so that's why 5 miles per hour is considered as maximum. Okay, so it should be 5 or less. 2 is the best. It can be less than 2 if you have a bigger data set. People who will collect data manually, they will prepare a table like this. Okay, you will put the values, the travel time values which you have got from the field in your report. For your project report, you need to put the values from the field as well. After putting the values from the field, you will make this table. People who are using an app or an instrument, they will prepare this sheet, the tally sheet, in the field, and then they will prepare this table. Okay, so this table is necessary for both cases. Okay, what is in this table? You have the speed group, lower limit, upper limit. Okay, then the middle speed. What is the middle speed? Average of lower and upper limit. So average of 30 and 32, 31. Average of 32 and 34, 33, and so on. And the middle speed is denoted with capital S. So capital S means middle speed. Next column, number of values in each group. Number of vehicles observed in each group. So how many vehicles observed? More than 30 to 32, 0. How many vehicles observed? More than 32 to 34, 5, and so on. Okay. So number of vehicles observed in each group, and they are denoted with small n. Small n. Okay. Then we have percentage frequency. Okay. So you take the percentage of the total number which is shown in this column. Okay. So the first one is 0. Okay. The next one is 5. And how many vehicles you observe total in the whole data set? 368. You take the summation of this column, you will get the total number of values, which is 368. Okay, so 5 upon 368 will give you 0.0136. 0.0136 means 1.36%. Okay, next value is again 5, so same. Then 7 upon 368 will give you 0.019, which means 1.9%, and so on. Okay. Now you can see here the first group is 0 and the last group has 0 values as well. Okay. So why didn't we start from 32? If we didn't observe any vehicles in the first group 30 to 32, why did I make this group? Why did I put it there? This is important for the completion of the data set. So the first group and the last group should be 0 groups. Should be groups with 0 value. Okay. So whatever maximum speed you have observed, you will add an extra group after it, and whatever minimum speed you have observed, you will add an extra group before it. So the first group and the last group will always have 0 values. Okay, and this is by design. We are doing it. We are putting the extra groups. Okay, so the first values and the first frequency will always be 0. Then the next column is cumulative frequency. So cumulative means what? Present value plus the next plus the previous value. Okay. So the first value is 0, nothing before that, so 0. Second value 1.36. Value before it 0. So 0 plus 1.36, 1.36. Next value 1.36. The value before it 1.36. So 1.36 plus 1.36, 2.72. Okay. Then next value 1.9. Value before it 2.72. 2.72 plus 1.9 gives you 4.62. Okay. So each time you will add the new value from the frequency column in the previous value of the cumulative frequency. Okay. Then these next two columns we will discuss where are we going to use this column today, but the last column will be discussed in the next class. Okay, so I will just tell you how did we calculate these columns. Okay, but their use will be discussed later on. So n into s. N means number of vehicles in each group. S means middle speed. So this column is the product or multiplication of these two columns, the n column and the s column. Okay, so the first is 0 because n is 0. The second one is 165. How? 5 into 33. Next one is 175. How? 5 into 35. Next one is 259. How? 7 into 37. Okay. Then the next column, n into s square. So now you know the value, right? N means this one, s means this one. So n into square of this column. Okay. First is 0 because n is 0. Next one, 5 square of 33. Okay. So 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 5. Then 5 square of 35 will give you 6.25 and so on. Okay. So these are you will complete this table. Okay. Then you plot these graphs. The first one at the top is known as a frequency distribution curve. The second one at the bottom is known as cumulative frequency distribution curve. Frequency distribution curve, cumulative frequency distribution curve. Okay. So how do you plot the frequency distribution curve? Frequency on the y-axis, middle speed on the x-axis. Middle speed s on the x-axis, percentage frequency on the y-axis. So this column on the x-axis and this column on the y-axis. Okay, and you can see it is starting with 0 and ending at 0 because of the extra groups. And this is the reason I want the extra groups. I want the graph to be starting and closing at 0 because I want the graph to be in a specific shape, and I cannot have that shape if the first group and the last group are not 0 or not having 0 values. Okay, same thing for the cumulative frequency graph as well. You can see it starts from 0 and ends at what? 100. Okay, so the starting and ending values of both the graphs are fixed. So the first graph 0 and 0, second one 0 and 100. Okay, and they should be like this. Cumulative frequency obviously will be 100, right? It cannot be more than 100. So on the y-axis cumulative frequency, on the x-axis maximum speed, upper speed of each group. This column. So this column on the x-axis, this column on the y-axis. Okay, so you plot these graphs, and from these graphs you will find out many other values. Okay. Now let us go with the calculation of the values. Which values are we going to calculate? We calculate two types of statistics, meaning representative values or meaning important values from the data set. Okay. These two types of statistics are known as statistics of central tendency and the statistics of dispersion. Statistics of central tendency, statistics of dispersion. These are two sets of important statistics, important values to be calculated from the spot speed data. Statistics of central tendency are the values which represent or describe the middle or center of the data. The middle or center of the data. Okay. Basically this portion. This portion. Okay, this should be the middle or center of the data. So the values which describe the middle or center of the data are known as statistics of central tendency. Statistics of dispersion. Dispersion means what? Spreading, right? Variation. So if I say students are dispersed in the ground, that means what? They are, they are spread in the ground. Okay, they are not at one location, they are spread in the ground. So how much is the spread? How much is the dispersion from the center of the data? Okay, how much are the other values in the data set? The extreme values in the data set are spread or varying from the center of the data. Okay, so this is the center. Okay, so how much is basically, in simple words, the difference between this part of the curve and these parts of the curve, the extreme parts of the curve, the starting and ending. Okay, so the difference between, or the spread between the center part of the curve and the starting and ending part of the curve. These values which represent this are known as statistics of dispersion, and the values which represent the central portion of the data are called as statistics of center tendency. We start with the calculation of center tendency, and we will start with a very simple case, which is the mean. So mean is the first measure of central tendency. So how do we calculate mean? Summation of values upon total number, right? Summation of values upon total number. So which values should I take the summation of? Okay, total number will be the number of vehicles which I observed. For our example, the example which I just showed you, the total number of values is 368. 368. Divide by 368, but divide what with 368? Okay. Now, if you see in the table, for certain columns they have given me the summation, and for certain columns they have not given me the summation. Okay, for example, for the speed columns there is no summation here. Then we have summation of values, which is 368, which I am going to use in the calculation of mean. I will divide the summation with 368. Okay. Frequency column, I have a summation, and even if they don't, I know the summation should be 100%, right? Cumulative frequency, the last value is the summation. Last value for the cumulative frequency column is the summation of all the values, right? Because cumulative frequency means what? Summation. So the last value is summation of all values. So we don't need the summation here. N into S, summation is given. N into S square, summation is given. Okay. Why didn't they give me the summation of the speed groups? Because then I can use the summation of the speed divided by number of vehicles. If I take the summation of any columns of speed, remember I have set up these columns. It has nothing to do with the speed of the driver, because I selected which should be the highest value and which should be the lowest value, right? In these columns, and how much should be the difference between the lower and the speed upper limit, the speed groups. So I have selected the speed groups. Okay, so if I take the summation of these values, it will just give me the summation of these columns which are selected by me, defined by me. It has nothing to do with the speed of the drivers. Where are the drivers here? There's no mention of the drivers. How many drivers are driving at 38? How many drivers are driving at 40? This is not mentioned here. Okay, so I cannot take the summation of this column. Now then you will say take the summation of this column. This is number of drivers. Again, it does not have any speed then. So if you take the summation of the speed columns, it does not have the number of drivers driving at it. If you take the summation of number of drivers column, number of vehicles column, then you don't have the speed here. Okay. Then we should merge them and then take the summation of the product of these columns. Okay. So this is why I did N into S. So N is number of vehicles and S is the speed or the middle speed for those vehicles. Okay. Okay. So I could not take the summation of any of these columns. I took the summation of these columns combined. Combined means after multiplying them. Okay. So I multiply N with S, and I took so I will take the summation of this column and divide this summation with total number of vehicles. So N into S summation divided by total number of N, which is 368. Okay. And for our case, this comes out to be 48.2 miles per hour. So the average or mean speed, which mean speed? Time mean speed. Time mean speed for this location is 48.2 miles per hour. Okay, so I will stop here. Next time I will start with median. So median should be how account to the number of vehicles, and what do you mean? Can you explain your question? I didn't get your question. You count the number of vehicles in the field. Okay, so if you are using a speed gun, you have to first of all make the speed groups before you go to the field. Make the speed groups. Let me go here in the tally sheet. If you are using a tally sheet, for example, okay, so the first two columns you have to make before going in the field. Okay, then you have, let's say your speed gun shows speed 34.5. So 34.5 should be in this group, right? So you put a line here. Next value 36.2. 36.2 should be in this group. So you make a line here, and so on. Okay. So you make the tally sheet. You go prepared with the tally sheet, and wherever the speed lies of the vehicle, you put a line there. Okay. If you are using the manual approach, then in that case, no problem. Just take the travel time, come back, and then you will calculate the speed. So you will have 62 values. So you make you make these 3 columns first, and then you see how many values you have in each group. Okay, so this is how you get the n. Either you get it from the field, but you have to make the speed groups first. You have to decide about the speed groups first, and then later on you can make some changes if you want. But you either you go with the tally sheet with the speed groups, or you take the travel time and come back, calculate the speed, and then start making. But again, you will start from making these 3 columns first. So you have the speed groups, and then from the speed data you have, you see how many values you have in each group. Okay, so this is how you get n. So n is basically the number of vehicles observed in the field. Okay. Any other question? Dua Rabi, Anna Muhammad, Muhammad Usama. Anna is here. Muhammad Usama. Usama is here. Amal Abdullah. Here. Muhammad Oman. Ali is here. Hakima Ali. If I mark your attendance, you can leave. Zahra Sayyid Ali. Abdullah Jaliluddin. Okay, Zahra is here. Abdullah Jaliluddin. No. Abdul Rahman Ibrahim. Nujus Salah. Let's join. Nadine Hussam. Zahra Riyad. Abu Bakr Ghani. Zainab Ali Ahmad. Bashar. Asil Ali. Asil Hassan Ali. Ali Mustafa. Laila Ahmad. Ahmad Khalid. Abdullah Usamuddin. Latifa Ahmad. Fatma Abdali. Zainab Abdali. Zainab Abdul Al. Ala Salman. Isra Abdul Kareem. Ali Abdul Razak. Elizabeth Ann. Ali Makki, Ibrahim Muhammad. Okay, did I miss anyone? Okay, people from section 1. Dana Isa. Okay, Dana Isa. Who else? Section 1. Section 1.
الهنا هنا
Huda.
الهنا دكتور
Al Hanuf. Yeah. Okay. Al Hanuf. Huda is also here, right? Dana Isa and Al Hanuf and Huda, right? Anybody else? Ahmad Amin. Anyone else? Okay. See you guys tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.